Hey everybody, Johnny Five Alive here, and welcome back to it's sort of like a new-ish series. So in this series, it's going to be a Let's Build, and we tried this with the Let's Build tutorials, and this is going to be something that's more of like a Let's. It's going to be a Let's Build. I'll explain what I'm doing, so you're probably going to learn stuff, but it's not directed towards a tutorial in terms of teaching you guys things, but you'll probably learn a lot by just watching me and hearing what I have to say. But I did those little presentation videos for my workshop creations, and they don't really get that many views and people don't really watch them. So I decided, well, why not record everything that I'm doing and turn that into a Let's Build series. So this is for Yetiland. We're building this for Yetiland. It was also for the 1,000 subscriber special. I wanted to build this for you guys. So in this episode of our first Let's Build series, we're going to be building the Gingerbread train station. So stay tuned and let's check it out. Let's just dive into it. We're going to be building this train station, and you can see off to the side here there is a train station. Now let me bring this up. What is this one called? This is Alpine train station, created by Spartion's 3000's workshop. So I'll put a link down in the description below if you guys want to check it out. And the reason I have that there is because I was thinking of actually just using someone's train station for Yetiland, but I also wanted to create something for the subscriber special. I thought a subscriber, all aboard the subscriber train, was a clever little invention. So I wanted to make a train station myself. And when building things, sometimes it's hard to get an idea, especially if you're new to the building set pieces. I've never built a gingerbread house, and I've never built a train station. So I have this. I was looking through the workshop to see, what kind of train stations I liked, and I found that Alpine train station off to the side there, and I thought that was pretty nice looking. So I decided to put it off to the side and use it almost as reference, and sort of take some of the ideas gone into the train station and incorporate them into mine. And there's just like the archways. I like the way he or she did the backtrack, or what do you ever call it, like the gazebo that covers the train itself. And then I just wanted to incorporate some of those ideas and use that structure and that design as sort of like my philosophy of how the train station is going to look and feel. But obviously I'm going to change it up, make it a different size, different shape. It's going to be gingerbread, and it's going to have all my personal touches to it. So here what you see is going on here is I'm trying to figure out the pathing, and I originally thought it might be cool to have it so that the people could walk up and actually go on a balcony, and I wanted to see if that would be possible. But the pathing in this game can be somewhat finicky at times, and I didn't want, unless you have a big room to work with, it's not very easy to get the pathing proper. So I just wanted to test it and see if it would work. And people probably wouldn't even go up there because there's no shop or anything enticing them to go up there anyways. So it was just kind of like a wasted thought, I'd say. And here I'm actually, what was I doing here? I was struggling to, what was I doing here? I remember I was playing around with something. Oh yeah, I couldn't figure out how to edit the entrance and exit. And I just derped out. You have to actually click the button for the boarding station, and then you are able to actually edit the entrance and exit. So it took me a second there to figure it out, and I was losing my mind going, I've done this before! Why can't I figure it out? And then I finally figured it out. I'm like, derp. So I wanted to see how they clicked in, and this is actually something I recommend doing before you actually build your building, because you can see I adjusted the whole building, just slid it over a little bit, because there's a little snapping point for both the entrance and exit, and then you want to make sure your building is aligned to those snapping points. So before I do any decorating or really completing the building, I want to make sure that the walking indoor interior space is manageable for pathing, and it seemed to work there pretty good. So I just have one straight queue and one straight exit. And I also had the idea of putting a shop inside, but I think I scrapped that idea near the end, and I wanted to put presents and trees and decorations in. So yeah, I'm looking at his boarding station and just kind of getting ideas, and then incorporating some of those ideas into my design. Because like I said, if you've never built something with these building pieces like the Gingerbread set, and you've never built a train station, it's always good to have reference. And sometimes I think this is the first time I've actually taken someone's in-game asset and used it as reference. Sometimes I just build this stuff out of my head. Like a lot of my sci-fi stuff is pretty crazy, like the grill from the hot dog grill incorporated into a building, and it has grill, like that stuff you just can't find on Google or on the Steam Workshop. You kind of have to think about it. So I do a mixture of like do it out of my head, come up with a crazy idea. Sometimes I might Google something, like the Yeti. I Googled what a Yeti looked like and then kind of made my own version of that, but I generally took the size and the shape and the way the arms go into the head. I use that style for my design. And then and the latest one that I'm doing that you'll see in a few episodes from now, I'm building a sci-fi shopping mall, and it's insane. It's got a SkyTrain built into it and everything. And that one, I went to Google and just typed in sci-fi SkyTrain and started looking through all the images, found one that I liked, and then decided to use some of the elements to create it. So yeah, a good mixture between finding a reference and an idea in your head and then making it your own, or just creating it out of your head. There's a bunch of different styles and variations of things that I do, but it's always good to have something solidified in your mind. So if you have an idea and you're imagining something, that's usually good to go off of. But if you're having a hard time imagining something, it's good to look at other people's creations or come up with something of your own. So here I'm just playing around with different roof pieces. I thought the roof didn't look good with a small slope. I wanted it to be a much steeper slope, and then I decided that looked better. And this is just a process of trial and error, moving things around, trying different things, and playing around with things and seeing what you like. And I thought a chimney would be nice on this, and I don't like this building's feeling very symmetrical, and I usually try to avoid symmetry when building things, because I don't know, something about just a perfectly symmetrical object doesn't seem too interesting to me. So I like to have something different on the right side than it is on the left. And this building will, in the end, be very symmetrical, the only difference on the right side really being the chimney. Whereas you can see on the train station that I was looking at, it's very non-symmetrical. He has the clock tower off to the right, just off to the side of the very center, and everything is aligned slightly different. But like I said, I don't want to just straight copy this person's design. I just want to find some ideas. So I liked the fact that there's these horizontal houses poking out of, or I should say vertical forward. There's these depth houses poking into this horizontal building, and I like that idea. And then I'm going to make it my own and decide how I'm going to crash it together. And the size is much smaller because it's going to be a gingerbread house, which means you're going to have 1,000 times as much decorating. I mean, I think that guy's building over there is far less than 1,500 pieces, and mine turns out to be, I think, 1,900 pieces. But that's because when you're decorating these gingerbread houses, you're constantly using little icings, little candies, different things like that, and it becomes quite tedious. So I wanted to be sure that my train station was also smaller, so I had less icing and stuff to put around, and I don't want to break that 2,000 piece limit. So here I didn't like the way the sides of the porch was like there was these little gaps, and I was just trying to find different pieces to fit in to kind of hide that. I try to, whenever I see flickering or like little bugs or little gaps and stuff, it's like my pet peeve. I used to do art for games and stuff like that, and movies and films, and I used to be a QA tester for games. So when I have a very keen eye when it comes to polygon bugs and art bugs. So it's just sort of something that's ingrained in me where I have to fix it if I see it. And I'm sure you guys have seen me do that on different park spotlights and stuff like that. So here, you know, I'm just trying to fit, and then we had the corners poking out at the top there, and that was bugging me again, just trying to get the art perfect. So I had to readjust the roof, and yeah, just really we're just blocking in our gingerbread base, just getting all the gingerbread shingles to where we want it to be. And it's also a process, like sometimes we'll change it later on or add to it, but before I do any decorating or any layering, I want to make sure that the base structure is good. And here you can see I was thinking, I think there's too many pillars, and I'm trying to calculate which ones to delete, and you know, just trying to figure it out. And I think I cut to a new video here. I deleted that building because I felt like I was done with it, and then I put down all the Candyland gingerbread buildings that came with the winter update, so I could get an idea of what they use to decorate. Just like, okay, this guy uses Smarties on the roof, that one was pure icing on the roof, this one has Smarties on the roof as well, and some of them use chocolate sticks for the roof. And then I kind of go, okay, those are some good ideas, what do I want to make mine? And then before I just looked at this building and I thought it looked too flat on the side, and I really want to make sure the shape is good before I start decorating. So I had an idea to make this sort of undulated bedroom / room kind of poking out the side of the building. And we don't have any half pieces in the game, half wall pieces, so I had to kind of get creative and come up with, take some of just the shorter gingerbread pieces and stuff them into the side there to create half walls, half-sized walls. And just, yeah, I thought having this room kind of poking out the side would add a little bit more variation to the building, more unique structure. And I'm just trying to fill in the gaps because that stuff bugs me. And yeah, and I ended up feeling pretty happy about that, so I put it on the other side as well. And now our building looks a little bit more interesting than it did before. So it did turn out a lot different looking than the train station we were looking at for reference. Like I said, I just wanted to take that gazebo look from the back, the walkway on the back, and then the rooms poking out of the front of the building. From there, I just, you know, make the shape of the building different, add my own touches. So that's why I deleted it and decided, okay, let's just go from here on our own. And, you know, like, you know, we've already added our own touches and stuff to it, and we've made this building our own. And obviously it's a gingerbread building, so it's completely different anyways. So here we are again, just looking at the other gingerbread houses, seeing how they do their icing. And oddly enough, I don't think I've ever really made a gingerbread house. Like maybe when I was a really young kid, I may have made one in like school, but that's not something we did like as a family. I don't think we've ever bought gingerbread sets. Like maybe I don't really remember it though, to be honest. So I don't have really any memory of making a gingerbread house, not at least in my in my memory bank isn't finding one. So I don't know how to make a gingerbread house, but I figured the rule of thumb would be wherever gingerbread connects, you're going to want icing there to glue it together. So here we're basically just finding any seams and adding in icing to those seams. So we're going to add some to the roof, so the roof is glued onto the building. And I mean, it makes sense. I guess that's how it would be done. So yeah, we have our base shape here, and we want to essentially just ice it all up, because that would probably be... I work in layers. Everything I do in layers. So I don't build a section and decorate and then build a section and decorate, because if you want to change something drastic or realize pathing doesn't work or whatever, or you don't like the look of something, then you have to go and change everything. And when you work in layers like this, you can usually just copy paste whatever you did on one side to the other. So you'll see here that I'm mainly focusing on the right side of the building, because I'll be able to take all this icing, select it all, duplicate it, and then rotate it 90 degrees or whatever, or 180 degrees, and then just slap it onto the other side of the building. So yeah, so my thought process here is, we build the gingerbread, we get the base down, then we do the icing, and then we start looking at putting our decorations on. And then when we finally get it to a point where we're happy with it, we go to our final stages where we do our lighting and final touches like special effects and different things like that. So I think this building, let me think here. I think a 2-hour recording gets smunched down into a 25-minute. I'm at 5 times speed. So it gets about 25 minutes for every 2 hours. And I was looking at this, and I think I had something like an hour and 10 minutes worth of footage once I had split it up into 5 times speed. So I didn't want to have an hour-long video. So this is going to be part 1, and in we'll have a part 2 as well. So we still have another 15 minutes of talking here to go on this episode. So I think in the second half we're going to be looking at building all the decorations, the final touches, the lights, and all that stuff. So this episode is really just blocking it all in, and I think in total this building would have taken me maybe 5 to 6 hours to do. Yeah, I'm thinking it was a 5-6 hour process, but you guys got to watch it all in 2 episodes here. So pretty cool. And yeah, we're just icing the crap out of this thing, just getting it really gucked up. And I'm not really thinking about colors or anything at this point, so I just want to get all the icing on. And then I was thinking in the back of my head, like, maybe it'd be nice if some of this icing was blue. And as I'm doing this kind of monotonizing, laborious, decorating, I'm always trying to come up with new ideas. So I want to think about like color and composition and that kind of stuff. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking I want to have this looking frosty and blue and magical. So I did think about coloring some of the icing blue. And if you see here on these gingerbread houses, they don't really use any colored icing. It's always white. So I want something unique to stand out with mine. And I'm also playing around with the doorways here because I kind of wanted it so you could walk around, and I wanted these rooms, but I'm still changing my mind, and I thought these doors looked kind of neat, these candy doors. So I ended up changing the walls, putting the doors in, and then just placing those in. And now we're just adding more and more icing and just playing around with things. I like the heart over the empty window there as well. And I had this idea where, because it's a cutout heart with some icing over top, that means we're going to be able to have some light shining through, because it's like an actual room. So we can take one of those fluorescent colorable ground lights and have some light inside emitting from the room, and then the room will kind of be like glowing out of the heart. So just coming up with ideas as I'm playing around. And there's so many, everywhere I look while I'm icing this thing, it's like you can see me looking around going, oh crap, I need icing here, oh crap, I need icing there. And this to me was one of the most laborious buildings I've ever made. I mean, compared to some of like the crazy, like you look at Planet Gulpy I did, that was like 1900 pieces. It was a massive like quickie mart, futuristic quickie mart. You could go inside, and it had a giant walkway outside. That thing was massive. But this, at the end of the day, well, I mean, Planet Gulpy took longer, but it was more fun in the terms of coming up with designs and thinking about how I was doing things. Whereas this one, it was just laborious, very laborious, because you're always looking for spots to add icing, and it's not really a matter of choice and does this look good. It's more of like, it just needs it here. So it was a lot of work, and but at the end of the day, I'm very happy with the way things turned out. And here I'm just trying to play around with the different wall decorations, going, what looks good here? And I like these little brick thingies, but I was putting them down. I thought, okay, that looks too man-made. I need it to be more random. And I think I ended up changing that whole side of the wall because I felt like it was too white. It needed more color. It needed to pop a little bit more. But I did like the fact that there was these... I wanted that little section that popped out of the house to feel different from the rest of the building, like an extension, like an add-on. So that part would have like the little brick tessellation stuff on it, whereas everything else wouldn't. And then the other, just I wanted everything to have a different look and feel. And then I'm just adding some little touches up top to try and add a little bit more noise, because these walls are very flat, very boring, and I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, I'm going to be adding candy and stuff to it after, but how do I get this looking good with just the icing, and then we'll do the candy last. I don't want to have to like just stuff candy in everywhere, because that can look kind of messy and almost like a kid made it. And you know, while it is a very kiddish kind of design, I mean, it's a gingerbread house. I also want it to be, I want it to be professional for the Steam Workshop. Like, I want it to have this very magical, clean feel. I want it to be, you know, very professional, and I want to make it very magical. So I don't want just like messy candy all about for any random reason. Because if you look at the ones that came with the game, the ones that are off to the side, they are very fun and, you know, friendly. Like kids made it and they're just having fun, and they're like, I'm gonna put Smarties here, and that's awesome. That's really, I love that. But for this one, I wanted it to have a very magical feel, and I wanted to put some extra effort into it to you know, because it's for my subscriber special. So I wanted to really push the magic feel of it rather than the fun, childish aspect. But, you know, it is a gingerbread house, or train station, I should say. So we're still going to add the candy, and we're still going to have fun, and we're still going to do creative, neat things. But at the end of the day, I really wanted to use the colors, the lights, and that to make it more whimsical than childish, if that makes sense. So we're still going to have touches, like you can see I'm using the marshmallows for the little smoke coming out of the chimney, and you know, we're going to have touches of fun, because I mean, it is a gingerbread house after all, and we're going to, you know, it's going to be somewhat kiddish at the end of the day, or, you know, young and friendly. So I'm just playing around with some of the different decorations and seeing what works. And I thought having some little snowmen greeting people coming in the front would be nice. So I made a little female snowman, snow woman, I should say, snow girl. And yeah, just I'm decorating kind of randomly, going back and forth, seeing what looks good. Because as I'm looking through the parts and the scenery, I'm going, oh, let's try this. Like, oh, let's put this here. Oh, let's try that. And getting ideas as I go, because I haven't, like I said earlier, I haven't really played with these parts yet. This is my first time really tackling the festive winter pieces. So I thought of I needed some kind of railings or something here, and I wanted to use the candy canes. And then I had second thoughts and came up with a new idea where, what if we have them overhanging with a little bell jingling off? And I thought that idea was kind of cool, so I put a few of those in. Just trying to get the spacing right here, getting it to look right. And yeah, so just trying to see what kind of things fit. I want to see like what kind of lining I could put for the trim. And I tried a cookie there, and now I'm trying these little sprinkled cookies, and I thought that looked pretty good, but I'm still unsure. I'm really just trying things. I think this just goes to a new recording. And now like I want to get a sign in here for the entrance and exit. I actually think I had this backwards at one point. You want the entrance on the right and the exit on the left, so people go in the right and come out the left. Maybe I clipped that footage out, I don't know. But yeah, trying to see what kind of festive look I want this to have, and then I thought maybe just make it look like gingerbread. And I'm just trying to play around with the colors to see what looks right, and I couldn't really find a color that didn't look strange. So I just went with black, and I thought that was fine. And I want to have, I wanted to call it Station 5 or like Channel 5 Gaming Subscriber Train. And then, you know, I was just trying to come up with different signs, look at different things, see what looked good in terms of a Channel 5 Gaming train station. And I think I wasn't happy with the sign, and I wanted to see what other signs they had. And I think this guy here with the gesture was added in the winter update, at least I believe it was. And I wanted to use my Channel 5 gaming colors. Like the colors we use on this channel are blue and white, different variations of blue. And then you know, I just wanted to get it fitting in there, looking good. And I thought that sign looked a little bit more festive, a little bit more creative, a little bit more fun and magical. So I went with that, and I thought it was pretty good. I'm just trying to space out the bells and stuff like that to get it all fitting. And so I'm just trying to like see what works on the right side and use that as my base. And then we're going to end up duplicating all that stuff and bringing it over to the left side. So I think that's what I'm doing here is I'm literally just holding control and selecting all the different icing because it could just slide right over. So you can see now I have all that slid right over. So it's much easier to build one side and then just copy, paste, and rotate, or copy and slide to just get the other side done. So I was working it to a point where I was happy with it on one side so that I could take it all over to the other side. So here we go again. I'm just selecting all the icing and all the stuff and whoop, slide it in, and there we go. So much faster way of getting things done, more efficient, and that definitely speeds things up in the long run. So I'm just double checking everything, and then I felt like those little spots on the corners there were too blank and empty, so I wanted to add something there. So we just put a little Christmas tree cookie in, and now I'm just trying to fill in all the gaps, find where everything needs a little bit of a touch up. And I'm seeing like little spots there needing some touch ups. Add some extra icing in, and then I didn't like how the top of the ginger was kind of flat looking. So I added an extra trim on the outside, and I ended up thinking that looked pretty good, and we could actually maybe even squeeze something in between, and that it really helps make it pop a little bit. And then I wanted to play around with having something on the top, and I thought these little shingles were kind of nice. They add that texture, making it feel like it actually has shingles on the roof. And I didn't need to have them perfectly spaced or perfectly touching one another and connecting all the way across. Just a few spaced about kind of randomly, I think is enough to really just so you get the idea. And then I saw this on one of the candies, on the ones that the developers made, and they put these little Smarties on the top, and I thought that was a nice touch, so I wanted to use that on my design. And this, for mine, I decided we would go with like blue and light blue Smarties to kind of match my channel's colors. And then I also really wanted it to have this overall icy, I knew at the end I was going to use like really crazy blue frosty lights, so I wanted white and blue to kind of really sell that frosty feel. And so that's part of the reason that I'm using the blue Smarties. It's not just the Channel 5 gaming, it just so happens that the blue frosty will go really well, the blue frosty theme will go really well with my Channel 5 gaming design. So yeah, I think we're getting very close. I'm looking at the recording right now and I'm trying to follow it. We're getting pretty close to the end of this episode, so I'm probably going to do an outro pretty quick and just cut myself off. So in the next episode we will be finishing the decorations, we're going to be doing the lighting, and it'll be complete by the end of the next 30-minute episode. And yeah, so thank you guys in advance. We still have a couple minutes running here, maybe a little bit less. Thank you guys in advance for watching. If you do enjoy this series, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and let me know what you guys think of this new Let's Build series down in the comments below. I do think I'm recording all the buildings I do from now on, so every single building we can talk over the recordings and kind of go over what I'm doing and what I'm trying, and hopefully you guys will learn something and also get an understanding of my madness and how I do my creations. So I'm always just testing things out here, and that's what you saw with those cookies. I wanted to see if I could add some more shingles to the top. And yeah, I think we're ending the near end of this episode looking at the recording. So thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. See ya.